In this session, we'll learn about DAX in Power BI. So now, what is DAX? DAX stands for Data Analysis and Expression. Is a functional language, and again, this is the language which is used across multiple applications. Means DAX is not only used in Power BI, it is also used with Excel. Also, it is used with Microsoft SQL Server and so on. DAX is a library of functions and operators using which we can define custom calculations. So that means it provides you with a set of functions, and with the help of some the operators, we can create custom calculations. Now we generally create two types of calculations. We have a calculated columns and a measures. Now DAX includes some of the functions used in Excel, like sum, average, min, max functions. What is there in Excel? Yeah, it supports in DAX also. But apart from that, it provides you with a lot of additional functions which is designed to work with relational data and perform dynamic aggregations. Fine. We'll look into what is the calculated columns and the measures. So generally, when I talk about a calculated column, it expands the table by creating a new column. So that means you have the data. Based on the data, you're trying to create a new calculated columns. It is stored along with the table always. Okay, it actually consumes an additional memory space. This is not highly recommended, but yeah, means it doesn't have much analytics features. But when you need some kind of row-wise calculation, so every individual orders has a sales and the profit. I just want to know what is the cost for every individual order wise. I just want to know what is the cost, which orders have given me the highest cost, the lowest cost. You want to get this kind of analysis. Yes, you can go with the calculated columns. So the syntax for writing the calculated columns is, so we specify the name of the column that you wanted, like say cost is the column, then we say equal to is the operator, and we write the actual expression or the formulas. In the formulas, we can see, okay, sales minus orders. From the orders table, we are taking the sales column and subtracting the profit from the orders table. So that means sales from the sales column. So we are taking the sales minus profit. Okay, that is going to be your cost. So when you're referring to the columns, we have to refer a fully qualified name, that is the table name and the column name. And this is syntax what we use when you're writing a DAX functions. Table name, and then we use a square bracket, and within the square bracket we specify the column name respectively. Okay, fine. So then next is, we do also have what you call it as measures. Measure summarizes the data into a single value. So mainly used for having an aggregated calculations, what is the total sales and so on. So they are calculated at runtime, and they are stored temporarily. So measures have a rich analytics features, mainly used for the aggregated calculations. Like example, I just want to know what is the total sales. So I write a formula something like this. So let us see the syntax for this. So the syntax for writing this measure is, so first we'll specify the name of the measure that you wanted. Say example, total sales, that is a measure name. Then equal to sign, and after equal to will be followed with the expressions or the formulas that you want to do, the calculations you wanted. So the sum is one of the DAX function. Okay, then open the bracket, we are referring to the column name. So to refer to the column name, we refer to the table name, and in the square bracket we refer to the column name that you want to use. Okay, so this is going to do the sum of all the sales values will be summed up and will be showing as the total sales, which will be a new measure which will be created. Fine, let us see it practically. How do we do this? So I'm just using this particular sample superstore data. So I'm just using this particular sample superstore data. Okay, so here I'll just share the data set in the link of the video. Okay, so here let me first create, how do we create some calculated column? Okay, so let me do that. So if I have to do that, so what is that I do is, if I have to create a calculated columns, see we have imported the data. So we have this orders tables which has this many columns here. Okay, I'll just go to this particular table view. When you go to the table view, you can see it shows me the complete data over here. Now we have the complete details of the orders, and we can see we have a measurable values like sales and the profit. Hey, I just want to know what is the cost for every order. If I have to calculate the cost, here I'll be creating a calculated columns. How do we do it? Yes. So if you want to create a calculated column, I've gone to the table view, and then I'll go for the new column. I want to create a new column. I'll just hit on this new column. As soon as you click on this particular new column, you can see a formula bar gets created just as we see in Excel. Okay, and in the formula bar it says the column equal to, that means the column is going to be the name of the column, and after equal to will be the expression. Now I say the column name I want it to be as a cost. I'll just say as cost. Cost is my column name. Equal to, how do we get the cost? Cost is nothing but from the sales we have to subtract the profit. So how do we call it as sales? So we just say sales. That means it refers to the table name and the column name. So that means we are referring to the orders table. In the orders table, I'm using a sales column minus, I'll just say profit. So auto IntelliSense will take this. Okay, from the orders table, it is taking the profit column. Okay, so that's it. And to compile this, we can just press enter, or we have a tick here, commit. So it will just compile this. It checks for the correctness, and you can see a new column is being created. Okay, and when you observe this, so this order value was, sales value was 77 and the profit was 3.8. From 78, 7.8, if you subtract 3.8 is 73.986. Okay, so this is the actual cost we got it from this. Okay, like 73 minus 21, 51 is the cost price here. Okay, thanks. You are able to do this. Next is, we'll see how do we create a measure. If I have to create a measure, so measures are created dynamically on the visuals. So I'll go to the report view. If you have to create a measures, I'll go to the report view. In the report view, we can see we have this thing called as new measure. We have this thing here called as new measure. I'll just hit on this new measure. Same like your calculated columns, here also we get a formula bar, but here it says measure. Okay. Now this will be the additional columns will be created. Okay, so I'll just say I want the measure to be as, I just want to know what is the total sales. Okay, so which is nothing but the sum of sales. So I'll just say I want a measure which is named as total sales. You can just give the name of the measure that you wanted and say equal to, and after equal to we write the actual formula. Here we have the sales column, but I just want to show the sum of sales. So I'll just take the sum of sales from the orders table. So this is a syntax. So sum is a function, and in the function we have the parameters. Function will always have parentheses. In the parentheses we are passing the field on which you want to apply the calculations. So that is summing. So I want to do the summing on the sales column of the orders table. So we have to say the table name, and in the square bracket we specify the column name. That's it. And again I'll just compile this. As soon as you compile, you can see there is a new measure which is being created called as the total sales. Now one more thing is, the measures will have this kind of a symbol as the calculator. This is a symbol which is representing a measure. But when it comes to a calculated columns, like see example, we created the column called as cost. So they will have a column like this. Okay, so a kind of a table, and there is a summation at the end. So there is a new calculated column which has been created, and the measures will have a kind of a calculator symbol. That means this is the measures that you have been created. Now calculated columns I can use only in the data views. Measures I'll be using in the reports, that is in the visuals. Now we have this total sales. How do I know what is the total sales? See, in the calculated we saw the cost, individual cost. We could see the individually there. Now let me take this particular total sales. I just want to know what is the total sales. As soon as you select this, you can see here I get a card here telling that okay, this is the total sales 2.3 million. Okay, I want to see this total sales for each region wise. So in that case, what is that I do? I'll just take a table here, and I'll just add the region into this, and I'll just add the total sales. So you can see the total sales is shown for the individual region. Okay. Now with the help of this, you can even create a the graph. Say example, I just want to see the total sales for each segment. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll just say the total sales for each segment wise. Okay, so we are able to see the segment wise how the sales are happening. Okay, fine. So we are able to get all this particular data here. So this is what is your measures. This is how we created. Okay, I think so. We'll go more into DAX functions in the coming videos. Okay, thank you for this.